but we're going to switch things off. Let's bring in our guest, John Buccigross, joining us here on this Friday edition of Frankly Hockey. And Bucci, the biggest question for me after watching things last night in Columbus, the quads, the hammies, or the calves, where were you feeling it the most after you had to run the stairs to the broadcast booth? It wasn't one flight of stairs. I mean, those were multiple flights of stairs that you had to pull off there.
Yeah, taking two at a time. Yeah, I felt, I've embraced mobility the last 12 months. So overall, the hips are loose. They're flowing well. So overall, it was just part of my daily regimen. I thought the funniest part was as I was finishing up my sprint and going down the hallway was Steve Eiserman there. Oh, hey Steve, how you doing? Just happened to be there as I made my last 50 feet. But yeah, there's my 6'7" for you, Frank. I know you're big
Yeah,
on
big
that.
6'7" guy.
Yeah. So yeah, it was, I thought it would be louder next to it because, throughout the arena it's so loud, but it really wasn't that loud. I thought it was going to overwhelm me. But at this point, my knee did give out a little bit after about my fourth stride. It was a little bit, it'll do that every now and then, as you guys knows. But now I have time to, I have time to kind of reassess in the elevator. Had a second there to kind of catch my breath. I forgot the protective goggles were on. Like
Your
that would
X-Max.
protect me from like that would protect me from an exploding, cannon that would go off in the wrong direction. Those goggles would have saved the day. And now, so at this point, we only go up one floor. Now I have to go up two floors via the stairs, and I'm going two at a time because this is me through the airport. You see everybody up the escalator. I'm the one guy who takes the stairs, so I'm training every day I travel throughout the year. I'm training for a moment like this. So I stuck the landing there. One more hi hello. I come down the hallway, and as I come to my left, here comes Steve. Hey Steve, how you doing? There's Steve Eiserman right there. Here you go. And then I saw the bug there, so I had to give him kind of a flying chest bump. He didn't really reciprocate. Now the puck has already dropped, but you see, I can't get my headset on, so now I'm more anxious about that. And then I got the welcome back from the gold medalist, and then I'm a little out of breath. But yeah, there, that's a great free shot. Well done. Emmy nominated there as Eiserman. He's not even looking at me. He's still focused on the conversation as he tries to figure out his goaltending. That's the look of a guy who doesn't have a goalie right there, I think. So
Well,
yeah, it was
first
a great moment.
first things first, I would have needed paddles getting up these steps. And second, I think as much as we're focused on you and your effort, I don't know that we've talked enough about the camera operator and his job or her job getting up the steps right behind you. Pretty
I
impressive.
blew him. Yeah, it was the dude, and frankly, I outran him. Like, where was he? Right? No, he just had a little steady cam, so maybe he had to keep looking down at his feet. I was going two at a time, and I have long legs, so I have 36-inch inseam, so I go up steps pretty easily. So he's good here, but then you see eventually. I overwhelm him with my leg length, kind of like Usain Bolt, right? Usain Bolt took fewer strides on a 100-meter dash because his legs were longer. See, now he's kind of gone now, and at this point, I actually slowed down because I knew he wasn't behind me. So I slow down my jog, and then I start going here because I know he's probably caught up. So, teamwork makes the dream work, and it all worked out well in the end, and there we are. So, it's all about content for the kids. It's on ESPN Plus. We wouldn't do that on ESPN probably, but it was on Plus, so we can do stuff like that.
All right. So speaking of content, Brian
Hmm.
has done an unbelievable job this week, warming the seat, filling in. But Butchie, we have some news, and I tweeted out the eyes earlier today. The
I
news
know.
is you're going to be joining us here on Frankly Hockey as our permanent co-host moving forward. First show starting on Tuesday. How you feeling?
Well, first of all, I hope I don't disappoint the people on X who are hoping this was a trade or perhaps a contract extension for Adam Fantilli, 8 times 10. Sorry, Blue Jacket fans. You're looking for some synergy from last night, maybe, but the canon is actually, a bit of a, yeah, didn't, oh, look at that. Wow. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I've never been in this space before, and if I was going to do it, I want it to be something that looked good and sounded good, and this certainly does. And Frank, I think, quite frankly, I think it's going to be a strong effort. I'll be all over the place, from home to on the road, calling games in the hotels, the airports, maybe. So I'll be from many different places, but it'll be a little different look. I'll be kind of on the ground a lot, as you will be at times, Frank. And so maybe give the fans a little bit of a different look at times on game day and things like that. We'll have fresh information and fresh news from the game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to give the space a shot, and this is, I think, the best way to do it for me.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait to have you on board. And yeah, look, I guess my work's cut out for me because I got to keep up with you now.
Yeah, there will be stair training involved. There'll be plenty of chicken parm, but there will be stair
Mm,
training as well. No more escalators at the airport, Frank. Only stairs. It's
okay,
free. It's a free workout opportunity. You don't pay a membership. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to walk through an LA Fitness restroom, which is, although that will vaccinate you through anything in the world. So you don't. It's free and clean. Take the stairs at the airport.
Certainly looking forward to watching things, and it's been a lot of fun here with this week with you, Frank. But obviously, with Buccigross coming on board, I think we're all excited to see what you guys are going to bring to the table. Bucci, let's get into some hockey conversation. Come on, we have you here. Let's get you teed up, ready to
All
go.
right.
Biggest surprise in the NHL so far for you? Who or what is it?
Hmm. I would say the Sharks for sure. Where they are in position. Wasn't surprised about Celebrini. When you play college hockey at age 17, you produce as he did and win a Hobie Baker against men. I thought he would come in and do a pretty good job. But still, as that team, I didn't think they would really be in that position, close to the line at this point. So a little surprised by then. But they put together a nice team. They've supplemented, I think, with a couple of correct veterans, and overall. I think they've done a real solid job at this point. The hard part's the next part. And the other surprise really kind of goes hand in hand because it was that would you take Celebrini or Bedard debate that started last year was how Connor Bedard has jumped as much as he has from year two here to year three. I didn't see that explosion coming. Really curious about the particulars of his off-season training, who he worked with, what he really worked on to get more burst, more explosiveness, and how he now puts defenders on his heels, which he didn't do the first 2 years. That is really surprising for me.
So with that Celebrini Bedard debate, it's kind of evolved into the next thing of the Team Canada Olympic roster, which is
Yeah.
one, none, or both of Celebrini or Bedard on the roster.
I mean, I just love Bedard the way he's going. He reminds me of Mitch Marner. I think he's a Mitch Marner comp, except he's going to score 50 goals. And Mitch Marner's not really a goal scorer. His seam passes across through the defense are dimes from 50, 60 feet. His faceoffs have improved to 50% this year from 38. And, if it's a wall battle you're worried about, or if you're worried about blocking a shot, he's going to do that. And again, I'm sure some advanced scouts or some front office people might have a better eye than I do, especially the all 12 look. Is he a reliable defender in a 3-2 game, in a 3-3 game in the third period, or you're up by one? Can you rely on him on the ice to make the proper defensive decision making? But as we saw in Four Nations, veterans don't make the proper. There's top six guys in Team USA who didn't make the proper defensive decision in a big game, in the gold medal game. So it can happen. It's a hard game, obviously, to play. But if that's the case, then yeah, I like him as a top six guy. I really do. Whether it's to start or to be a supporting cast in case someone goes down. But I love Celebrini too. I don't see why both of them can't be there. But in terms of looking at the team, and I understand these are hard decisions, but no, I believe that Bedard has earned the right to make the team and play.
Since Frank opened up the Olympic door, who's winning gold in February?
Yeah, man, it's hard to bet against Team Canada because their pride is it's a little different. I think it's a difference maker for them as a country in tournaments on all levels in every sport, men and women. Talking to AJ Malesko last night, who we saw there, my partner, 2002. They should have won gold medal. That was theirs to win, and they didn't. And so that can happen. Uh, I'll be rooting. Obviously, I root hard for Team USA. I just do. I don't really have a favorite team anymore in the NHL because I root for people I know, and I root for them to win championships, players and GMs who I create relationships with. I want games to be great and fun. But in this situation, I am like a fan. I do get emotionally involved. I get nervous. I get tense, and I like that because I miss that. I miss having that. That's why I like this best on best tournament. For me, it brings out the fan in me. So I'll be rooting for Team USA, but again, this is hockey. It's random. It probably will go to overtime or a shootout, and then at that point, it's just anybody's ball game. Truly a coin flip.
Hmm. Moving forward, when it comes to that Olympic discussion, the rink this week was such a big topic of conversation. Understandably so. The construction is one part of it, but as you're constructing a roster, would you have a slightly different view with the rink being 4 feet shorter? Do you think about your roster differently, or does this play kind of directly into the hands of the way Bill Guerin and Team USA have built their team to this point, which has been based on size and brawn?
Right. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it could possibly be overplayed a little bit because these guys train in small area games so far now. It really started 10, 15, 20 years ago when USA Hockey realized that they need to change their whole model of how they develop players. They looked at Sweden. Why is Sweden having way more round picks than us, that little country, compared to our country of 300 million? What are we doing wrong? And the Swedes were practicing more than playing, and little Sparky and little Johnny were playing more than they were practicing. So, small area games became a thing. So we see NHL coaches put the nets 20 feet apart. Let's have a small area game. I think they're used to that, using their edges, quick turns. Certainly Tom Wilson could get on you quicker as he dumps the puck and gets in, but these guys are all such elite skaters. They can evade, they can avoid very, very well. But yeah, it's going to be, because as we know, there was no room during Four Nations, right? So certainly a little smaller ice surface won't make that any easier. But there might be one or two, but overall, I think it's probably overplayed. In the end, the goaltending is still going to have to be there, and yeah, these guys they can move so well. The dexterity and the skating so good. In the end, I don't think it'll be a big thing.
Bucci, taking it back to the NHL, the 4 wildcard teams right now: Philly, New Jersey, Chicago, Utah. You could probably put Pittsburgh in that conversation, just how surprising they've been. But out of those 4 wildcard teams, who stays in the playoff picture when this season is done, and who's coming out?
Wow, give me those again.
Philly, New Jersey, Chicago, Utah. I'll throw you
Hmm.
Pittsburgh as an honorable mention if you want to
Yeah.
bring them into the conversation.
Yeah, certainly. I like the Devils to stay, and I'd probably go Utah. Chicago doesn't. They're still too young, I think. I think they'll probably go through injuries and even Bedard. I think he's going on a lot of adrenaline right now, and that could subside over time, over a long season. Philly's getting goaltending from Bedard. That was a great sign. They might have made the playoffs the last couple of years had they had really, really good goaltending. So that's really that was one of their pieces away. I'm starting not to trust Utah's goaltending. What do you guys think?
I'm with you. It's been a little bit scary. I thought, year over year, you kind of get a sense where they're heading. Like, start of last season, Ingram was supposed to be the guy that was going to carry this team, and he had shown that he was capable, and then he fell off. And then Vejmelka steps in, and he saved their season last year, gave them a fighting chance
Hmm.
in March to be in that conversation. So you're thinking, all right, well, now he's going to carry the ball. And then you get into this season, they start hot. If you think back to a couple days before Halloween, the Avs and the Mammoth were tied atop the West. They both had the same number of
Yeah.
points through 11 games. And since then, the Mammoth can't string anything together. And the
Hmm.
goaltending is part of that, but also happened at the same exact time that their top 6 went completely cold. So it's been a lot of things, but the goaltending doesn't really give you a security blanket if you're Andre Tourigny or Bill Armstrong.
He just doesn't look really athletic to me in stressful situations, and I like to pay attention to body language like that. And there's expectations now, and that's different than when you're just the Coyotes playing in a college barn and you're just kind of surviving one night after the other. It's easier to play in that circumstance, maybe even for a goalie. And he's had some good numbers and he has good size, but I just see sometimes in these stressful situations, I don't see a lot of big square, really quiet play like you see with some of these goaltenders. Again, I might be overreading that, and maybe he will get the job done, but I still think they're like another defenseman away, and they have assets to trade. I'm sure they'll be aggressive, so they can stay in the hunt, and maybe they'll be one of those teams that makes a move a little earlier than waiting for the deadline, because this and that's why I would think GMs would be more aggressive because it is bunched up. People think, well, that means they'll wait longer. I would be the opposite of that. I would try to take a move earlier to try to get that jump now and not wait. That's how I would look at it.
The other element for me, especially with that Utah team, the hardest lesson I've always thought for young teams to learn is the consistency aspect. They were so good to start,
Yep.
but it is
Right.
really hard to be consistent for 82 games, and that is the last hump I feel like they need to get over. I have them in the playoffs this year, Bucci.
Yeah, I kind of, and again, I probably would have too before the season. I felt they were ready. The enthusiasm of the team, the home ice advantages they seem to have. I called their overtime win against Colorado early when that part of the season Frank was talking about, and they were right there. And so, yeah, I thought, okay, yeah, this team is ready to be a 96 point team and to win a wild card and get in the playoffs. And that still could happen for sure. Like I said, I still think they'll be better. This won't be the end product. And I'm sure they're already scouring, looking, what do we need? Who are we targeting? How can we on the board in Salt Lake? And I expect them to be aggressive and because their window is now. Like it's time to go. Like these teams, some of these teams, there's no more, losing and get another lottery pick. I know the scouting department always likes that. They like all these picks. It gives them something to do. And they want that perfect team and get that next guy that's in next year's draft class or even the year after. But I think these teams now, it's ready to go. These guys are at good. You can win cups at 22 and 23 and 24. And when you recognize young core guys who are stars, and then Keller's now in his prime, like these guys are ready to go now. You don't want to wait till they start touching 30 because how many guys over 30 now, we just see their production tank. Detroit is seeing that with guys who used to kind of score a little bit, and now nobody is scoring on that team except their big five. And so if I'm Utah, like I go now, it's almost like I would view this team like I would view a team who's 30 years old, like the same thing. Like okay, this is our last chance. Let's go. I wouldn't totally mortgage the future, but I would look to win a cup in the next 4 years because you actually have the core to do it now. It's not 10 years, it's now. So this is your core, this is your chance to win a cup. If you're like Utah, it's the next 4 years because otherwise those guys you have, they're going to start to age out.
Bucci, welcome to the Thunderdome. We're certainly looking forward to seeing you and Frank kicking things off next week. We appreciate the time.
I like this lighting. It's like a Grace Kelly glow about me right here. I might have to. I'm at my son's house in Cincinnati. I might take this in the old travel bag.
John Buccigross joining us here on Frankly Hockey. You will be seeing him every day with Frank Saravalli moving forward. That'll kick off next week here on Victory Plus TV.